Hey everybody, welcome to Camel City Chat. I'm John McPherson and I'm here with, you ready? Master Chief Joseph L. Hundley, who serves as Emergency Services Director for Forsyth County, North Carolina, otherwise known as Chief Joey Hundley. How was that?
That's good.
Thank God it's written over there.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
that's, what's it, something from the Panthers or something like that?
That's Coach Ron Rivera.
All right, so where are you from and how long have you been in Winston-Salem is our first question, Chief.
Well, so I'm actually from here, Surrey County, born and raised. Grew up in Pilot Mountain. And joined the Navy out of high school, right? Left at 17 and did a short 26 years and 2 months. And
Thank you, Master Chief.
Right. And then I've been back here in Forsyth County since December of 22 in this role.
22, okay, right.
So like 20 months.
And so we're gonna talk about all that stuff. But now your beautiful bride Beth is awesome. I've enjoyed meeting and getting to know her. And so where do you guys like to go eat? What's your favorite place? Because I know where you live.
Yeah,
so I mean, are you gonna tell me you like the Walkertown place or whatever, seafood shack or any of that stuff?
We've got a couple of defaults, I guess.
Okay, let's hear them.
We like 66. Because I get these confused
over there
all the
near
time,
Haynes
right?
Mall.
No, not Haynes Mall.
Oh, the one in Kernersville.
Right,
yeah,
So,
yeah. 66
so
Diner.
Route 66 Diner.
Yep, good one.
And then there's another little restaurant right down the road from there that's got a great salad bar. 66. It's called 66 something.
Okay.
And so those are, and then I got to be honest, Waffle House is right down the street.
Right.
And so
Waffle
House becomes a default. Let's go grab Waffle House
right.
a lot.
So actually, we were supposed to do this interview last week, so we'll talk about why, which is kind of interesting to see how you guys prep for that woman named Debbie.
Yeah.
But then, what do you guys like to do when you're not working and doing this? I know you don't hike because you're going to tell me your knees are killing you and just sitting here.
Right.
But what do you like to do?
Well, so my wife likes to do this thing called fine engraving, which means she likes to
Fine
walk
engrave,
around
I remember
graveyards,
that. Yep.
Right.
Yep. And is she doing a lot of that? Because I haven't talked to her.
She is.
All right, I got to call her and talk to her about that.
She does that, and honestly, because you sold us such a classy house, we were just like hanging out.
It is amazing, It's so funny when you guys were looking that she was just like, I guess I'll come down here, and now you can't get her out of the house.
I know, man. It's good. Yeah, and I got family in town, right? So in Surrey County, and my dad lives in Ararat, Virginia. So, we spend time with them. And
so where's your son now?
At this moment, he is at my house in the bed.
Okay.
But he came down to visit his sister.
Okay, I was gonna say, where's your daughter?
Yep.
She's in bed.
So
I guess.
So my son Sean lives up in Waynesville. Works at the casino in Cherokee.
Right.
And then my daughter is a rising sophomore going to Roanoke College, so she'll actually be moving in this weekend.
Okay. And is she still doing the athletic trainer stuff up there?
She's still in the health and exercise science realm. I don't know if she's going to keep going down the athletic trainer path, but Roanoke brought a football team back in this year, so it's like a half a season, and you never know. That's right.
Okay. Yeah.
That's right.
All right. So first and foremost, thank you for your service. I mean,
Thanks.
26 years. I mean, you have been all over. We've talked about it. So I got a buddy of mine who lives in Guam, so we got to mention Guam. All right, so where all has the United States Navy taken you?
Well, I got to thank you for yours too, because I know you
don't tell
you
people
did
don't know
something,
that.
right? Yep.
I did nothing.
I mean, we did establish the Honorable Dr.
Reverend Doctor.
Reverend Doctor.
Yeah.
I can't keep up.
So it's the Honorable Reverend Dr. John H. McPherson Jr., comma, DD, comma,
Mr.
PhD.
President. We got Mr. President in there.
Mr. President-elect.
President-elect.
President-elect,
There we
yeah,
go.
yeah,
There we go. Yeah.
This is what I have to deal with, folks.
I know, right?
So go ahead.
Right. So
I can't believe you did that. But I'm getting a challenge coin. We're getting a challenge coin, right? Yeah.
I started out in 1990, and the Navy took me to Great Lakes, Illinois. Chicago,
You're being awful
Illinois.
nice.
Yep. Right.
So you went to Great Mistakes.
I went to Great Lakes. Yeah.
Yep.
And did boot camp there, and then I went to Groton. I was a career submariner, so I did 5 submarines over my time. and did my training in Groton, Connecticut. And then the first submarine was actually in a shipyard in Vallejo, California, so up in mid-northern portion of north of San Francisco. And then it ended up relocating to San Diego. So I spent about 4 years in San Diego. And then I came to Virginia, to Norfolk for shore duty, and then picked up a submarine out of Norfolk. So I spent 11 years in Norfolk. And then the Navy decided it was time to move to Hawaii, and that was pretty ugly, because it's Hawaii and nobody wants to live in Hawaii.
Right. It's a hard one to get.
Yeah.
I know.
And so we had a nice place overlooking Pearl Harbor in Hawaii, and we spent 4 years there.
Suffering.
Yeah.
He is being facetious. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. But I did take my longest plane ride when I was in Hawaii,
Right.
and that I legitimately had to go from Hawaii to the Middle East and back.
Wow.
And so I spent more time on the plane than I actually spent in the Middle East for the trip.
Okay.
And then from Hawaii, we moved to Guam.
Right.
And spent 3 years in Guam, and then I made somebody mad. And they moved me from Guam, at 9 degrees north latitude, back to Connecticut, in the year that it was the 100-year snowstorm.
Right.
So, and then I retired.
And what we learned from that is don't make people mad.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't make people mad. I still haven't learned that lesson.
Yeah. No, you haven't.
Right.
No, but,
so,
right. So, Guam, beautiful place.
Very beautiful.
Got a buddy of mine who keeps saying, "Just come visit, come visit." You know, it's as crazy as it is. It's like. We'll have the governor meet. I mean, it's like everyone there knows everybody.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Like
Eddie Calvo.
Yeah.
Eddie Calvo was the governor.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, he'll come out and meet you.
He will.
It's just
Sure
crazy
will.
to know.
I mean, it doesn't matter if you dive. You can snorkel. The water is beautiful. I was a diver, scuba diver, and I mean, on clear days you could see probably 50 to 60 feet down.
That's amazing.
Right.
And so you get out of the military and get into this career, and you were never going to take this job because you had already planned on retiring from where you were, right?
Yeah, I actually got involved in EMS when I was in high school.
Okay.
So I'm an East Surrey graduate. Got involved in with the Pilot Mountain Rescue Squad in pilot, and got my first responder certification, and then left for the Navy.
Right.
And when I got to Norfolk, I ended up living in Virginia Beach, and Virginia Beach, is touted as the home to the largest volunteer rescue squad system in the country.
Right.
At least it was then. And so I got my EMT, and then I got my paramedic certifications, and I volunteered with them for 11 years. And then the Navy kept me current as I moved out, to Hawaii and Guam, because there's only one independent duty corpsman or medical guy or gal on the submarine.
Right.
And so, so I had the training. It made sense for them to keep me, and I taught a bunch of stuff to help stay current. And then when I got to Connecticut towards the end, I got in the fire department. I got my firefighter certifications, and so when I retired, I actually when I retired from the Navy, I had about, almost a month and a half of leave that I was on, and so I went to start teaching at it's a post-secondary school, but it was a private company.
Right.
Paramedics and EMTs, and the director of the school was a former Navy guy, and was offered a job in D.C., and he took the job, and he lined me up to take over his job as the director of the school. And then I moved from there. There was a sister company that was a commercial ambulance service, and so I moved into the sister company as the director of operations for the company, running the commercial ambulance service. And then Virginia Beach opened back up for their deputy EMS chief position, and was there for 4 years, and then this job opened up, and it's just a natural move. But I wasn't really looking. I mean, I'd watched Forsyth County in my Virginia Beach time because Forsyth County, their system was similar to my system that I had in Virginia Beach.
But now, all right, so I'm going to get in the weeds here. I apologize, and we're probably about time to take a break here sooner than later, and then we'll finish, we'll come back on some of this stuff. But do you worship two gods in a sense, though? I mean, are you city and county? Are you county, or what?
So in this role, I am responsible for all of Forsyth County.
Okay, so you're responsible for all of Forsyth County.
From the EMS perspective.
Okay, and we're going to talk about that. But I mean, you have because I mean, 911 is crazy because I think if I dial 911 from where I am, it goes certain places and stuff, and you're going to explain that just so be prepared for that, right? And then you have a bunch of FTEs, but then you also not only have your FTEs, you also then may call and send it to an ambulance service. It's a private company that has some stuff lined up and things like that. Plus, when I go to a Wake Forest football game, you're there. When
Bowman Gray Racing.
Bowman Gray Racing, you're there.
Winston-Salem State football game.
Winston-Salem State, yeah.
We're all over the place.
Hey,
High school
you got to be
football
there
games.
for. Hey, you got to be there for the red storm. I mean, excuse me, the Red Sea of Sound, because the storm's coming when they play because they're awesome. So when you're there, and then let's not forget the other things though we got to go into is like the tennis match that's coming up next week, and I'm sure you're going to be at Flow.
We're covering that.
It's just how many FTEs are there in and around your department?
In the department total, I'm just under 300.
Okay.
And those are split up between EMS, the county 911 system, which dispatches all fire and EMS in the county, including the cities of both Winston-Salem and the town of Kernersville. And then I have the fire marshal's office, and I have a fire suppression group that supports the volunteer county fire department.
We're going to need a damn chart for this. All right, Steve, it's about time for a break. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we come back, and then now, folks, this is why Joey's here. When you pick up that phone and dial 911, there are so many intricacies that happen to get us someone there in that quick amount of time, and it's all because of the training and the meetings and the groups and how all this weaves together to take care of the citizens of Forsyth County. Right. So we'll be back with more Camel City Chat after this. Welcome back to Camel City Chat. I am here with Chief Joey Hundley, Director of Emergency Services for Forsyth County, North Carolina. What the heck is emergency services? So do we start off with, I'm in the city of Winston? Okay, let's do this. I am in Forsyth County and out in Clemens in the county, and I call 911. What happens? So I've got I'm having a heart attack. Okay, so I call. What happens?
So you're going to call 911, and because you are in the county, not inside the city of Winston-Salem, that phone call is going to come to my dispatch center,
Right.
Which is a county. It's called a public safety answering point, or PSAP, right? And the county, my communications center in emergency services is the primary PSAP for all of the county.
Is that at the train station?
No, it's in the public safety center, the county's public safety center at 301 Chestnut.
Okay, all right.
Not to be confused with the city of Winston-Salem.
Is that where? Is that in? So that's in Bobby's office?
Yes, it's in that same building.
Okay, so I've been in that room.
Yeah,
because that's where they have the.
So Bobby has moved up to the third floor.
Okay.
My staff in the communications center and his communications center is on the second floor.
Right. So I've been in there. He gave me a tour of that when we interviewed him, or after another time. I like it. They have areas where your people can go and decompress. They've got some quiet rooms because that's a job I couldn't do.
Yeah.
You have to if you have to, but those people are heroes every day.
Yeah. Oh, they are. They are truly the first responders.
Right. Yeah. So I call in. We're calling in. We're on Chestnut. Someone takes my call, asks me all the questions.
Yep.
And all
So
that
they take your call. They ask you a series of questions. The things they're going to want to know right up front is what phone number are you calling from. In the event we get disconnected, we can call you right back. they're going to want to confirm the address
Right.
that you're calling from.
Because with cell phones, you could be calling 911 and you could be in Connecticut.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. In fact, my phone number, my personal phone number, is a Connecticut area code. Right. Still. So, and then we're going to ask you, ideally, what's going on.
Right.
But we're also going to ask you, is the person breathing and are they conscious?
Right.
Those are important. Those are important questions for another program that we're working on that I'll talk about here in a second.
Right.
And so what we're really looking for is there something immediate that we need to get fire and EMS and police that we would have to connect you to either the sheriff's department, and if you're in Clemens, or if it's in the city of if you're calling from outside of the city, but the issue is inside the city, we would connect you to the Winston-Salem Police Department.
So I call in because I'm having a disagreement with my neighbor. He's mowing the yard when I told him not to mow the yard because we're having a family gathering. Then you're going to send me over to sheriff's dispatch, right?
Right.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah, and so we'll ask you a
Remember
bunch of
that, Jeff.
questions. That's right.
Yeah, sorry.
We'll ask you a bunch of questions to try to get down, understand what exactly is going on with you.
Right.
And then we'll send you the resources that that are warranted at that time.
Okay. All right. And so then you have an ambulance team that is your team. Do they stay mostly in the city or do they go everywhere? And then you have, what, 2 other groups that you have contracts with, or what's that?
Yeah. So we have in EMS, we have our main station is here in the city off of 5th Street.
Yeah. What would be a great street number for that? Like 911?
It's 911. It's 911 East 5th Street.
Yeah.
And so that's the main station for EMS. And then we've got stations in we've got a station in Clemens off of Amp Drive. We've got a station towards Kernersville it's not Main Street, but it turns into Main Street. I ought to know the address off the top of my head, but I don't. And then we share a space off of Clemensville Road with a Novant facility where we keep some ambulances. We've got an ambulance in Kernersville Fire Department.
Right.
We've got an ambulance in the Rural Hall Fire Department. And so that's where all the ambulances are. But, over 70% of our calls are in the city of Winston-Salem.
And how much do you work with like the volunteer chiefs and stuff like that with the fire departments?
Yep.
I mean, you guys have a good relationship, all of y'all?
Yep, we work a lot with them. In fact, the system is designed for them to go in a first responder capacity to any advanced life support level call.
Yeah, I've noticed that when someone calls for something and it's just an ambulance is needed, the fire, like, when my dad was at the facility in Winston, it's like the fire department shows up and stuff like that, even though it's an ambulance situation.
Yeah, and it depends on what it is. Like if you're having, chest pain or breathing difficulty, or you're unconscious, or there was an overdose, or you're having a seizure, or you're a diabetic, and you're having an altered mental status. Those are calls that are high level. What we call advanced life support.
Right.
That we may have to do more than just put you on a stretcher and take you to the hospital. And so the fire department, we've got really good partnerships with fire departments, and they'll respond out to those calls and help us out.
Okay. And so are you sitting with, the fire chief, the police chief, and the sheriff? You guys all are interacting, and I'm assuming having some sort of a meeting occasionally, or your team is to. Address different things.
Trey Mayo and I have lunch about once a month.
I owe you guys both lunch.
Right.
I figured that was going to come up at some point.
That was my ping in there.
Yeah.
There's a monthly police chiefs meeting that I go to, and so I see all those folks. The sheriff and I are actually working together on a drone.
I was going to ask you. Everyone saw my finger go back there. This is. I need to ask you about the drone because
Yep. So we're partnered with Duke University using an American Heart Association grant, and we are a first in the nation thing, potentially second in the world, where we are working to deliver an AED. To someone who might be experiencing a cardiac arrest via drone, and we know that we can probably save 3 to 5 minutes on delivery time. And, when you're having a cardiac arrest, every second counts, and every minute is 10% chance of a less chance that you're going to be alive if someone hasn't started CPR on you already.
It blows me away when you see stuff like the kid will get injured playing football and someone was smart enough to run cold water around his neck or something to stabilize something, and that saved the kid from being able to walk. I remember that being a story. Or the AEDs and things. I mean, the one cool thing about, and people want, why do you do this, John? I mean, what do you get out of it? You don't. It's because of stories like this. I mean, Bobby and some of his stories about the drone and the recognition software and stuff is amazing. He was at a Wake Forest game and he goes, "Hey, where am I?" And they're like, "Give us a second there, one." And what are you doing in section 302, row 11, seat 5? So they were able to facial recognition him coming in and then follow his path and stuff like that, which, people are like, oh, that's invading my privacy. But it's not invading your privacy if you're a good person.
Right.
It's if you're how did this person get in this situation? And then now with the drones, I mean, that's going to be huge.
Yeah, so these drones are not, drone as a first responder is the program that he uses. These are really, we're purchasing these things to simply fly an AED, lower the AED on a winch down to the area where and then my 911 call takers will tell the person when the AED is there that it's there, go out and get it.
Right.
It'll walk you through it, how to use it, but they will certainly make sure that you know how to use it. It's bilingual. We've got
I know that like out near me, Center Grove Church, they have a camera that's, you can share your cameras in and stuff like that if you want to. I mean, there will be, I'm assuming, base stations of these throughout. Like I would assume there'd probably be one at Somerset since there's a police station there.
Yeah, we're actually starting in Clemens.
Okay.
So this is a research project right now, and so we're starting in Clemens so that we can gather data in a rapid. In a rapid format.
So
populated, right? And the study is actually a rural study.
Okay.
Not geared so much towards an urban populated.
Well, no,
area.
because if I call 911 here, it's a lot different than if I call 911 at home.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
now I'm still close to about everything, but I mean, I'm within 5 miles of the Louisville Williams Road one.
Yeah. So the thing for this study is. What's it look like when someone has a heart attack or cardiac arrest in north up in Pottstown, Stokes County, or Surrey County, or and that's really the focus of the study. And so we start in Clemens because that's where the sheriff already has his drone as a first responder program there, and then we branch out. We branch out from there.
All right, now. There was an article about this in the paper, I think, or something. Yeah. So when do you expect for us to have the first drone?
We hope to be up by November. Maybe
right
soon.
Around the holidays
Maybe
when
soon.
Heart attacks happen.
Yeah.
Wow.
The other cool thing that we just did, and this is the public safety message for me is that people need to learn CPR. And it's different than it used to be. Like, we're not teaching you mouth to mouth and all that stuff. We're just teaching you
don't
to
breathe
pump
anymore,
on the
do you?
chest. Nah, we don't. I mean, we do in the medical, when you get a medical provider there, but we're not teaching the lay rescue, right? It's just, and so we just did a reunion 2 or 3 weeks ago, where we reunited a cardiac arrest survivor with the crew that worked him, but. That guy is alive today because his 16-year-old son and his neighbors next door started CPR on him and did CPR for 7 or 8 minutes before we ever got there.
Wow.
That's why that guy is alive today. Right.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I had a neighbor that his daughter performed CPR on him and saved his life too.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Right.
And it's a quick, easy. I mean, it's a couple hours to learn how to do it.
Now, we'll teach you in 5 minutes.
Okay.
No kidding. We are down to that, just teaching you how to push.
Okay.
So, it's pretty cool.
All right. Cool. let's take another break.
Okay.
And then we'll talk more about what you do and how, I mean, that's what an awesome program that's going to be. But let's talk about what the public can do to help out in certain things and stuff like that, okay?
Fantastic.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to Camel City Chat. I'm here with Chief Joey, and we're talking about all kinds of things. And so let me ask this question so that you don't look bad in asking this question, because I've heard some stories. If I can't get up out of bed, that is not a good reason to call 911. Or what? Do you not have what I would say habitual 911 callers? And obviously you are in the position where I know your answer is going to be very guarded. So tell me, or what are reasons not to call? I don't. Yeah, you take it from there, sir, and make it the right way.
So we do have folks that like to call 911 for lots of things, and frankly, as a society, we've kind of done it to ourselves, right?
Okay.
Where we say, if you have a problem, call 911, and
Right.
we'll come out and help. And we do that, right? You
And we
call
want people to call 911.
That's right. We want you to call 911.
We don't need the habitualness.
Yeah, but we have folks that call 911 to do things like, hey, I can't reach my remote control, and I can't get out of my chair because I've got whatever this issue is, and so they literally call 911 for us to come and get their remote control for them, right? We've got
That
folks.
seems, when you call your neighbor or family member to help you with that.
Well, those are the things for us, right? That's why we ask the questions in the beginning that we ask, because we need to make sure that we're coming for the right reason.
Do you track that? And I mean, is that
We do.
And
Yeah.
so I'm sure there's a matrix. I like, that's one of y'all's words.
Right,
Probably,
right.
There's a matrix that shows of, how many 911 calls do we average a day in Forsyth County?
Well, I can tell you in 2023.
That's good enough for me. I mean, I would have thought you'd tell me last week, but I mean, if it's 2023, that's fine.
I can tell you in 2023, the phone rang in the communications center for citizens over 200,000 times, and about half of those were 911 calls.
Okay.
Right. So 100,000 911 calls. In 2023, there were 63,000 EMS calls that were dispatched.
Wow.
Yeah. So now, not all of those 63,000 calls was someone transported to the hospital.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
In fact, it's about half that number.
Do you guys track that, like that success rate, even in a sense? And when I say by success rate is I mean, if you pick me up from a car accident, you track that I lived. Do you track? Do you guys track that? I mean, what?
We have the ability to track some of that
Yeah.
stuff. That doesn't necessarily mean that we do. We do have metrics that we look at.
Right.
We do look at high utilizers, is what we call them. People that call 911 a lot. And we understand too, right, that that society is transitioning to where folks want to be at home in their older ages, right?
Right.
And no one wants to go to a nursing home and die in a nursing home,
Right.
and I totally understand it. Both my grandparents were in nursing homes, and it's not to say anything about nursing homes. It's just that that's expensive living too,
Right,
you
yeah.
know, and so we understand that people want to be at home in their later years, and maybe even end of life be at
Right.
home. And so what we try to do when we have these high utilizers is we send folks out to assess what's going on. We have folks fall risks, or people that fall, and you go out and you look at their house, and they're hoarders.
Right.
And so or they've got runner carpets all over the place, and the floors
That was one of the things that we were sold on is if Dad was in this apartment, that there'd be someone there that could help him.
Yeah.
And then when he was there, there's no one to help him.
Not the case.
So then you got a 90-year-old guy helping a 95-year-old guy get up because you can't get over there, or I'm going over there at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Or it's at that point it's like, son, I'm gonna call the ambulance and have them take me to the hospital because I don't feel right.
Yeah, we do have some challenges out there. A lot of the nursing facilities, that would be places where you would put your loved one in because you think that you're putting in there so that someone will be there to help them out. We go to a lot of those calls.
It's a bill of goods that's sold that's not delivered, and that's what I felt like.
Some of those places have policies in place
Right.
to protect their employees.
Correct. But then they're not sharing that policy with the people that are coming in the front
Right,
door.
right. And then we are the catch-all.
Right. And so then, now with you all, so you are a county, so you work for the Queen now, right? So she's in charge of everything.
I work for Miss Robinson.
What a
yes.
great hire that was. I mean,
Yes.
I hated losing Dudley, but she's on the list. Dudley is going to talk to her and see if she'll. In fact, I might share this actual clip with her before. So I'd like to interview her. She seems to, talk about someone that has, she swept the broom. She's been in there. She's done a lot, and now she's gotten the position that she deserves, and I'm excited for her. So you work with her. When she does her budget with her commissioners, obviously you're asking for stuff,
Right.
and you're competing against Bobby. You're competing against,
Yeah.
right. And has he ever gotten the walkie-talkies you wanted? Because I know that was big, the communication.
I don't know.
But so what? So you guys have to kind of talk about things, and here's what I'm needing this year, and things like that, within that tax rate.
Yep.
And so is it? You don't seem like the person that would do this, but is everyone trying to get the most dollars for their department, or it's like, there's pretty much what the sheriff's going to get, there's pretty much what you're going to get, there's pretty much what,
No, I think we all do a very fair job of,
I would agree.
of presenting to county management what our needs are.
Right.
Not surprisingly, I, just like every other department, probably has more needs than are going to be filled. But that's management, right? Is you got to prioritize your needs, and you got to identify all of them, and then prioritize which ones you're going to get. We've been pretty fortunate the last 2 years, which has been my tenure here, that we've been able to increase our staff. We've been focused on getting our ambulance fleet up and running.
you gotta get what, EpiPens, and they're expensive, and then
Narcan? There's a lot of stuff.
What's the other one, Narcan?
Well, Narcan is actually free now
Okay.
in a lot of places. You can, in fact, there's a vending machine, I think, at the jail
Okay.
in the lobby, and you can go get free Narcan
Okay.
out of the vending machine. And there's one or two other places around the county that our public health or our behavioral health folks are working on. But medications are expensive. If we buy a glucagon injection, which is not a new medication, but it's new that it's available to public safety folks, and it's $600 a pop. And an EpiPen, of course we don't use the EpiPens. We just buy the medication in the vial and,
Right.
and buy needles and give it, have
So-
to draw it up.
Now, I want to ask, how is our drug problem? And then the other would be, I know that in some municipalities and maybe that we're getting to the point now of not only with when we send someone out, we're sending some behavioral health people and things like that. I know that was something that, because whether people want to admit it or not, and Stabler, here's your clip, mental health is a disease.
Yeah.
It's just like a heart disease or stuff like that. We got to learn how to help treat those people and not penalize them for having a disease.
Yeah.
It'd be the equivalent of putting someone in jail for having a heart issue.
Yeah.
And so, what do we do? What are we doing to be proactive and better stewards to our fellow Forsythians?
Yeah.
You like that? That was
That's a
good
great
word.
question.
Forsythian.
Yeah. I don't know if that's.
I don't think that's
actually-
it.
Right, but it's cool.
All right.
The Honorable Reverend Dr.
Okay, you got it that time.
coined that here.
Yeah.
President-elect.
Yeah.
No, in all seriousness, the county's actually working pretty hard at trying to make sure that folks are, that the community is getting the services that they need. We've got a pretty active behavioral health department that does a lot of community education. They actually hand out free Narcan at those things. You can see public health department when they're doing community events might have Narcan to hand out. Emergency services, if we respond to calls, especially from the ambulance side, there's Narcan that they can hand out. We've got we're making a shift, have made a shift within the county to move the mobile integrated healthcare team, which did work for emergency services, over to behavioral health, and their focus is going to be geared more towards post-overdose response and helping folks, that want to break the habit to do that, and then mental health, responding to mental health calls as well.
Well, you and I are both friends with Emily Norris, and I mean, with the gathering, the church, they've got, just if they can bring showers in for a weekend, it's amazing how much it changes people.
Yeah. So Emily and her team do a phenomenal job at the dwelling, and I mean, I've been to church over there on Sundays. Haven't been honestly since we moved out into Kernersville, but I think about her a lot. And
it's funny because introducing you to Emily at the dwelling, which is the dwelling is what, the largest church, the fastest growing church in America.
Yeah.
That gathering of people and stuff. That's like one of my that's an arrow in the quiver there that you guys got to meet because of what you do.
Yeah.
So I mean
and so what she does over there, what they do, they bring showers in a couple times a week. They've got feeding, food services available a couple of times a week. I know every Sunday, right? It's snack before church and then a meal after church that's provided. And so there's a lot of things in the county, I think, that are those types of things going on to try to make an impact, in the county. It was interesting. I can't remember the Netflix series, but before you and I partnered up and bought the house,
right?
Sitting in the apartment, and it was a Netflix series that talked about the OxyContin painkiller,
yeah,
right, and that talked about the Purdue Pharma group, and I was watching the miniseries, and the very first, spoiler alert, the very first clip in the very first episode is, it flashes to a little town called Hillsville, Virginia.
Right.
Right.
And that's the fast food restaurant, wasn't it? Is that where that happened?
Yeah, I think so.
It was like
yes.
a Taco Bell or something like that?
Something like that, yes.
Yeah,
right.
Oh my God, it was so horrible.
And then the second little town is, I want to say it was Mount Airy.
Right.
Right.
And that may have been it too.
And then the third town is still, I don't remember the third one, but it's right around here, you know?
Wow. Yeah.
And so I'm like, my gosh, I never realized that, that we're where it started in the country,
Yeah, well, and see, it's amazing when she gathers all of those individuals together. I mean, you've been to the church. I've not been during a service. I mean, the dwelling is amazing.
It is.
And everyone's welcome.
Yep.
And if someone has an issue in the middle of the service, everybody just ignores it. In the sense of if someone has an outburst, they work with people and all that. But what's amazing about the dwelling to me is it's her, of course. And like we'll be talking about, she goes, John, I can't do that. I just lost somebody. And I mean, she lays one of her people down to rest more often than anyone else should because of their struggle with all this stuff.
Yeah, I haven't talked to her in a little bit, but I did provide them some information to try to help get them in some, gets down the path so they could hand out Narcan.
Right.
And I'm working on getting them an AED so that they've got that there as well. But she's got a great team of people. I mean, I was over at church there one day when somebody had just one of those outbursts, right? And she's got a good team, right? And her, her fiance, everybody calls him Cowboy, is just phenomenal at de-escalation.
Nate's awesome.
And so it's, we need more of that stuff. We need more people like them to help us because it's, this is truly an issue for us. It takes a village. I mean, the number of overdose calls and mental health calls that that my team responds to is probably 7% of our call volume.
Right.
But that is not indicative. I mean, so 7% of 63,000 is 5,000 people or 5,000 calls, but that doesn't even touch the number of actual challenges that are out there.
Yeah, it's All right, we got to take a break. We'll come back and finish this up. We got a lot of stuff to work on, and you guys help keep people safe, so that's pretty cool. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Camel Sea Chat. I'm John McPherson. I'm here with Joey Hundley. And Chief, we are coming to the end of our episode, and I always have several different questions that I kind of ask at the end, but I want to ask, you mentioned something earlier about it takes a village. And, how do we get into the hands, we can bring it by drone, but not, does everyone, to live in Forsyth County, do we have to have it mandatory that you have to know CPR? Stuff. What are some things that, and that's a joke, but what are some things that you and your team are working on to try and be the first of first responders by the general public in a sense?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we talked about CPR a little bit, but I can't overemphasize that enough, right? In that. We need people to learn CPR. We also need people to actually do CPR, right? So again, I come back to the 2023 numbers because those are fresh in my head. But we had 361 or so cardiac arrests in the county, which sounds like a big number or not.
Right. I
mean, when you talk about almost 400,000 people, only 361 cardiac arrests. But the things that stand out for me is that 77% of those cardiac arrests occurred at home or in a residential facility, right? And 44% of that 77% were witnessed by a bystander.
Right.
And only 32% of the time did that bystander actually start CPR. Right? So...
Okay, I got to get a slide rule and advocacy to get down to this. So
really,
we're talking like, what, one out of every 10?
Yeah, so the cardiac arrest survival rate is less than 10%.
Okay.
Right? So you figure out of 361 cardiac arrests, less than 36 of those folks were survived. Right? Okay. We believe the number can be higher, but... Again, it takes.
Can we get it to 50%? You think?
I think we can.
Okay.
Right? But that takes the community.
And I'm pulling CPR. Numbers out of my head, like the 1 in 10, which that kind of worked, and the 50% actually worked. I don't know where these numbers are coming from.
Good.
It's the room.
I did not slip them to you.
Yeah, no. I mean that's what we want, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you have the heart attack, the Widowmaker, there's a good chance you're not going to live. But I mean, all the other ones.
There is if we start CPR right away.
Okay.
Right. We got to start CPR. We got to get an AED, automated external defibrillator, or as we call it in our AED, the shock box.
Yep.
Right. And then we have to get the right level of pre-hospital care there to you, which means we need to get you an ambulance because we need to get you loaded up and we need to get you transported to a hospital where you can be taken care of there. But we need to teach people how to do compressions, how to do CPR. We need to teach people how to recognize an overdose and get access to Narcan. One of the things that I'm trying to put together is a Citizens Academy where we bring folks in, over a 6 or 8 week period, maybe one day or one night a week or something, and we teach you a little bit about all components of emergency services, and we show you the 911 center.
They sit with the
and
911. They do the ride along.
Right, we do all of these things, and maybe even we figure out how to let you pick up an extrication tool and cut up a car or something like that. Right, it's still kind of work in progress, but any way that we can get the word out there to folks to help make them part of the team is what we're trying to do. And we say that the 911 telecommunicator or the dispatcher is the first responder.
Right.
But the reality is the true first responder is the person who calls 911, right? Or starts CPR, and so we're pushing really hard to get that that number raised. The number of more people that get involved. We are actually working right now with an organization called Pulse Point to get, and it's an app that you can download on your phone. And if you are at a restaurant and somebody has a cardiac arrest in your vicinity, it will notify you if you have it programmed. If you've selected it on your phone, and if you're trained in CPR, you can go help.
Holy cow!
Right?
Or someone's choking.
If someone, right? So it's based on, and all of that is fed from our 911 system. So, and you hear, my friend Chief Penn stand up all the time and talk about, we see something, say something, and we just, we need community involvement. And so it's the same for us, right? We need folks, we want folks to be involved. And we're starting our community education program, getting that up and running as we speak, actually, so that we can come out to civic leagues or churches or whatever it is, and
Can
take
you
an
teach
hour
them at the fair?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, could you have come in 10 minutes and we'll teach you CPR type of thing?
Sure can. Likely will.
See, that's
we have there's a whole public safety lane or
display
road, right? What they do there, and I know the sheriff's there, and West Salem Police are there, and West Salem Fire Department's there, and we are actually there from a medical component, staffing the fair. But we're going to work this year, I think, to try to get partner with our other public safety partners and get it out there.
All right. So, I mean, you grew up in Stokes, right? Surrey County. Winston-Salem's changed a lot, hasn't it, since you came down the old hill to the big city?
I mean, I grew up in the tobacco fields, right? And so...
what have you seen that you like?
In Winston-Salem?
Yeah.
Well, we went to, Beth and I actually went to the Caladium the other night.
Yeah.
They do a little once a month after hours or after dark thing for the adults to come, and that was pretty cool. What I really stands out for me about Winston-Salem is all of my Navy time. I remember when downtown Winston-Salem was R.J. Reynolds and tobacco warehouses and all that
330.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then R.J. Reynolds went away, and then every time I would drive into town on leave, you would just see more and more going away, and then you got the downtown section there right off of 52 that was just. It become desolate, and then it just looked run down, and then all of a sudden driving through, I'm like, "Whoa, what's that? What's that building? What they do here?" Yeah. And kudos to whoever, the city's economic and development and the county's economic and development folks. I guess I don't know. Maybe I'm making somebody mad.
No.
For having the vision to get that up and running, and I think that honestly that's just the thing for me that stands out about the area is, I mean, Winston-Salem is the fourth or fifth largest city in the state.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you've got all of the things. I mean, we've got Wake Forest football. We're in a major Division I college here with college sports. We've got, NASCAR racing now back at Bowman Gray because NASCAR is managing it. We've got minor league baseball team here. We've got, the oldest arts council in the country and all of the things that go with the arts council, or with the arts period. And that's just awesome, but then in 20 minutes you can be in, or 30 minutes you can be in Mayberry,
Right.
or Pilot Mountain.
You can get you a
right?
pork chop sandwich and your haircut at Floyd's.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
And the country between here and there is beautiful. It's just, I think that's the big thing for me is, I really didn't. I never planned to come back here.
Yeah, I know. We
right?
talked about that. Yeah, I'm not moving
And-
again.
Yeah, and so, but the more I'm back here and the more I'm out, I'm like, this is an awesome place.
I'm glad you're back.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, I appreciate everything you do for us, and I'm excited to hear about the Citizens Academy.
Yeah.
I almost said Police Academy. I know the police department does one, and then of course there's Leadership Winston-Salem. I don't know if you're involved with that.
I have not been to that yet.
Well, we'll make sure that Catherine knows that.
All right.
We'll be texting her before we leave out of here. But I mean, great organizations, and I can't thank you enough, man.
Yeah, no,
You
it's a
know.
pleasure, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad you decided. I'm glad we were able to finally line this up.
No lie.
Yeah.
So now we got to get the obligatory lunch on the calendar.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, we do.
So thank you so much for being here. That's Chief Joey Hundley, and we will be back in a few weeks with more Camel City Chat.